Man, it's hard to tell stories into phones. You like look at it too much and it doesn't feel like you're talking to a person. It feels like you're doing a story thing, but I just want to try to tell you a story. So here we go. Here's what happened. It's late July and I'm walking into a health food store for some hippie shit. And there's this lady here at the front of the store, and she's talking to a guy, and she's telling him all this stuff about birth certificates. How if you're born in Canada, then you're born according to naval law, and that means that in some way that you're like, the way that money works with you isn't right, and blah 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 blah, sovereign. And I'm like, oh shit, sovereign. My friend Chris used to talk about sovereign. It put a big smile on my face thinking about that. And so I turned and looked at her, but to be honest, I was already looking at her and listening to what she was saying, kind of eavesdropping on their conversation. I could tell she was happy about that. And the reason why I was doing that was not because I was particularly interested in the kind of thing that she was talking about, but because I remembered how a few weeks before I thought that I was really telling the truth, and I still think that I was. In some ways, I would rephrase it, but telling the truth is a strong thing, but I was trying to say something important. How about that? I was trying to say something important, and people were straight up telling me that I was crazy, and I was trying to be as rational as I could. And it felt like when people let me do that, I could make sense, and when they didn't, I couldn't make sense. It was a weird thing. So this isn't about that, but that's why I was looking at her, because I was like, whatever, I don't really care about this, but I like that you said sovereign, and you're a good vibes kind of lady, and you're being nice and gentle, and whatever. So I start listening, and this gives the other fella an opportunity to get out of the situation. So he was happy about that. She was happy that I was listening to her. I was happy to just kind of let her talk and be like, see if I could kind of be a, when you're like changing the air on a bike tire, you like push that little thing and the air comes out. So I thought maybe if she talked, she'd feel better. So she really liked that, and I was asking her some questions, and she said, hey, come out to my car, I'll give you a pamphlet. And I was like, oh sure, I'll take a pamphlet. I want to see what your main jam is. So I walk out to the car with her, and she was really all over the map, like kind of like a constellation, and I was having to put a lot of stuff together myself. But when she finally had a pamphlet that was saying what her main thing was, or the main thing she was talking about that day, was how the COVID-19 coronavirus is actually something very much to do with 5G and all that kind of stuff, which I don't really still understand exactly what it is. But that was what she was all on about, and she was, definitely one of the first strangers who straight up gave me a hug, and I accepted. And I was a little worried because it seemed that she went to a lot of kind of protests where a whole bunch of people don't wear masks, and she wasn't into masks. That was another thing, not into masks, and thought that COVID came from 5G. But she was really nice and whatever. You know my game. I was just trying to like let her get air out of her tank too, and it kind of was having the opposite effect in some ways, because at a certain point in time I realized that she didn't seem to be getting happier, even the more words that she said, because she was kind of digging herself deeper and deeper. And I could see that she could see that I wasn't getting it, and I was trying to listen, but she was asking more and more, like, you know what I mean, you know what I mean? And I thought, like, are you trying to convince me of something right now? And I said that. I was like, I don't know, this is interesting. I've never really heard about this before. I've seen a few people from Otris, you know who you are, posting about this kind of thing, and they're, I don't really know what it's about, so I don't really know what you want me to do. You've given me your pamphlet, and it has addresses on the World Wide Web that I can go home to and read more about, but you're a lady on the street and I'm just some guy on the street, and I don't know how far you want me to take this right now. And she was like, kind of like, fair enough. And I said, but maybe you can give me some actionable takeaways, right? Because you seem to know all these features of the problem, so what's the solution actually? And she was like, oh, well, and her whole like kind of mood changed, got a big smile, and she was like, well, if I had to sum it up, I'd kind of say that we're single points, on a web of human consciousness, and we just gotta beam out love at everybody and ourselves, and something like that. And I was like, lady, me too. That's totally where I'm at. So that's pretty cool how we got there in the same way. But I can see you're kind of, I can kind of see it in your eyes. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm, yeah, cool. I like that. I like that attitude. So let's just try to do that and not get angry. And I didn't say that part though because people don't like when you tell them to not get angry, even though everybody wants to be happy. It's a funny little loop like that. And she said, "Oh, you're just great. I like you, Dan. Do you want to come to a gathering?" And I was like, gathering? Tell me more. She's like, well, yeah, a bunch of us are having a gathering up at my place. It's going to be tomorrow night, and we'd love if you come. And I'm in. I'm so in. Off the bat, I didn't have to think about it for a second. And the first reason why I was in, I'll tell you, just because like what a weird deep travel cut. I've got to hang around in some cool places. But when you get to jump into a place that like people really are into some weird shit, you know what I mean? It's like there's something really special about that. Like going to countries is good and you find little pockets, but like I don't know, I think that's how I like hanging out with fish people, all the jam band scenes, because it's just like so dense and weird, but through travel I've got to like hang out with people who just have totally different lives, like people living up in the mountains in Nepal, or the Beach Boys in Sri Lanka, or wherever it is. So I was so riveted at this opportunity come to a COVID 5G conspiracy party. And so if any of them see it, I don't mean conspiracy in a bad way, but it's kind of what that scene was in a way. And not what it was. What it was kind of like gathered around is what other people would say. Anyway, I want to be nice to all sides. They were great. So she tells me, great, here's the address, and the only rule is, because the government is listening, and she'd be mad if I was putting this on. Hope she's not on Facebook, but I bet she's not. Oh, fuck. Anyway, whatever. I had to put my phone in a box, right? In a metal box when I was going onto the property. And I thought that was pretty exciting too. So I was excited travel-wise. And there were two other reasons why I wanted to go. One of them was to kind of calibrate where my own head was at. Because some people, a lot of people really thought, it was really clear to them at that point in time that I was not all good. But I felt really good. And I still feel really good. So I wanted to calibrate myself. Let's just say that. I wanted to go see if there was like a beautiful mind element going on to what was going on, or if people just didn't have the attention span to follow me and I didn't have the skills to say what I want to say, which is, I'm kind of getting that's the whole fucking rule of this thing. Anyway, I wanted to check my brain out, and I also wanted to test a theory, which is that, it sounds cheesy, but really, people are people everywhere, I've gotten to have the great privilege in life, to go travel to so many places and hang out with so many different types of people, like different variations, and just see that it's all the same thing, like cuisine, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so, what people are is just so elemental. So I've kind of just been noticing more wherever I am, when somebody brings you a cup of soup, I don't know why people say that. I always get a bowl of soup. When someone's bringing me a bowl of soup, if it's in Nepal, or if it's in Ethiopia, or if it's in Armenia, or if it's like at some like old time tent at a festival, or wherever it is, like somebody bringing you soup and smiling at you really feels the same. And I'm trying to say it deeper. That's like, I can't say how deep it is. It's like really the same. It's not just we're all happy. It's like everybody I hang out with, it feels like hanging out with people. Like when it's good vibes, it's good vibes. When it's bad vibes, it's bad vibes. And she seemed, to be on some shit about the whole realities of COVID, which are just totally different from the way that I see it. I don't think that 5G is making it, And I think she really did. And she still seemed so nice, and I was curious, and I thought, you know what, I bet if I go there, it's just gonna feel like hanging out with a bunch of people and it was, you know? It seems like I could somehow make a narrative that's like, oh, was it? Wasn't it? But if you just stop watching here, it was. So maybe I'll make that part 1, and then part 2 will be about when I actually went and put my phone in a box. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you did, it's fun to talk about shit, isn't it? Isn't it?